Alright, so in the latest update, instead of animated adventures, they buffed 3 old units that have dropped out of meta a long time ago. Those 3 being Killua, Juuzou, and All Might. And we are going to be looking at all 3 units to see how much stronger they are. But before we do that, I've actually never used All Might before, so he's not evolved. So what item do I even need to evolve this unit? Let's see. Okay, I need 3 Shining Extracts. I'm probably going to regret this, but I have no plans to evolve like any other units during this update because all of the My Hero Academia units are bad, which is kind of sad, and the other units don't require these. So I'm going to go ahead and just spend all my starfruits to do this. So 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And let's go ahead and evolve the unit. I'm honestly not quite sure why I'm doing this, but Smash knockback, 40% more damage, and minus 10% Smash cooldown. There we go. Now we actually have an evolved All Might. What stats did I roll? A+, A+, A+. That's nice. Okay, let's go actually see how strong these units are, because these got a really, really big buff. Now, of course, before I can actually showcase these units, I do have to go ahead and get my money up, because showing up 3 units will require a lot of money. And I now have that money. So let's go ahead and do our first unit, which is going to be Killua. Now, Killua got buffed by 100%, which is a pretty big upgrade. So let's go ahead and see what the damage is now on this unit. So first upgrade, damage goes up to 6,000 damage, a pretty big jump. 6.7 cooldown and 17.3 range, so there we go. Then the upgrade after that goes up to 7.5 thousand damage, 6.2 cooldown, and 19.4 range. Then a new ability, Thunderbolt, 10.5 thousand damage, 6.2 cooldown, and 20.5 range. And just to see, this upgrade makes it into a bigger circle AoE that makes a literal Thunderbolt when it attacks. It's kind of cool. Look at that. Very nice, and also stuns. This is also a stun unit. If you didn't know, this is one of the main stun units in the game. But let's keep going. 12.1 thousand damage, 5.7 cooldown, and 21.6 range. Then 15.1 thousand damage, 5.2 cooldown, and 22.7 range. Then 18.1 thousand damage, 5.2 cooldown, and 23.7 range. Then we get another attack, Godspeed Whirlwind, 24.2 thousand damage, 4.8 cooldown, that's very nice. And then 24.8 range. When we do the upgrade, we get an even bigger circle AoE, and look at that attack. That is a really good attack. Really good multi-hit too. There's a lot of multi-hits on that one. But next upgrade is 30.2 thousand damage, 4.3 cooldown, which is amazing, and 25.9 range. Then it goes even lower to 37.8 thousand damage, 3.8 cooldown, and 27 range, and then that is the maximum Killua. Let's go ahead and see what the DPS is now on this unit. Look at that damage, though. That is awesome. 9,000 DPS, just under 10,000 for mine. 9,999. 4 placements, that's quite good. So that's 40,000 total DPS. Definitely isn't anywhere near meta, but it is much better than what it was. That is a much, much higher than what it was before the update. Literally 100% higher. So very, very good buff on Kahlua. He's much more usable now as a stun unit because he stuns and has a very, very fast attack. 3.8 seconds. He's one of the fastest attacking units in the game. So a very, very good buff on this unit. Let's go ahead and look at the next unit. Let's do Juuzou next. Juuzou got a 50% buff. Still very low starting damage, though. Let's go ahead and look through the stats. Placements is 760, 6.5 cooldown, 15.7 range. Very bad starting damage, but let's go ahead and keep going. First upgrade is 1.5 thousand damage, 0.5 less cooldown, and a little bit more range. Upgrade after that doubles the damage up to 3,000, same cooldown, 0.6 more range. Then 800 more damage, 0.4 less cooldown, and 17.3 range. 5.3 thousand damage, 5.6, 21 range, not bad. Then Manic Frenzy, 7.6 thousand damage, 6.9 cooldown, goes up, and then 26.2 range. That changes into a Cone AoE, which is pretty nice. But the next upgrade is 9.8 thousand damage, same cooldown, 1.1 more range. Then 12,000 damage, 6.5, 28.3, Joker as the next attack, 15.2 thousand damage, shorter cooldown down to 4.6 and 31.4 range. Then that attack changes to another cone AoE, so it goes from cone AoE to cone AoE. I think it's the exact same attack. I don't know what the upgrade actually did. It might have given it bleed. I think it already had bleed though by default. But 22.8 thousand range, 4.6 cooldown, and 31.4 range. And that is the maximum stats on Juuzou with a total placement of 4. So if we go ahead and look at the DPS on Juuzou, from what I can tell, it's still very bad. 5,000 DPS. Yes, this unit is not worth using. Don't try to get this unit because it got buffed. Unit is still not good. There are much better units to use in the game. But it did get buffed by 50%, but it's still very, very bad. One of the worst units in the game, sadly. Not quite sure why they only buffed by 50%. That's very random. But let's go ahead and do the third and last unit, which is All Might. This is my first time ever using All Might. I've seen them used before, but I've never used them. So let's go ahead and take a look at this unit. Default damage is 2.6k, 8.3 cooldown, and 12.9 range. And the first upgrade jumps that up by a lot, up to 6.8 thousand damage, 7.9 cooldown, and 14 range. Upgrade after that is 10.5 thousand damage, 0.5 less cooldown, and 1.1 more range. Then 15.8 thousand damage, 6.9 cooldown, and 16.1 range. A pretty good upgrade. Then California Smash as the first new attack, 18.4 thousand damage, same cooldown, 2.2 more range. Let's go ahead and take a look at this unit, and look at that. This is one of the only units in the game that actually flings units when it kills them, which is like the coolest part of this unit. Look at that. That is satisfying. One of the only units in the game that does that. But let's go ahead and keep going. Oh, by the way, just to say, this is a knockback unit. This is one of the only, like, 2 knockback units in the game. Tatsumaki is the other one, and she is much better. But let's go ahead and do the next upgrade, which is 21,000 damage, 6.5 cooldown, and 19.4 range. The one after that is 31.7 thousand damage, same cooldown, 21.5 range. Then United States of Smash, another new attack, 52.8 thousand damage, 8.3 cooldown, 24.7 range. Let's go ahead and buy that upgrade, which turns it into another big, really big circle AoE. And let's take a look at the attack. I think it's the exact same. Ah, yeah. He just says Timah whenever he jumps. That's funny. That's not what he's saying, but that's what it sounds like. Timah! That's great. Very, very good attack. Not a whole lot of damage, though. But let's keep going. Next upgrade is 79.2 thousand damage. Same cooldown, to 26.9 range. And then that is the maximum stats of the new All Might. Buffed by 100%. 4 placements, not too bad. Let's look at the DPS of this unit, which is 79,000 divided by 8.3. 9.5 thousand DPS, not too bad. He's a little bit weaker than my Killua, but the fact that he's knockback instead of stun is pretty good. Knockback units are very good for dealing with enemies that have a lot of health. The only downside is it does not affect bosses. That is the only downside of using knockback units. But honestly, I wouldn't use this unit. If you are early game and you want to get a knockback, go for it, because it's really easy to evolve compared to all the late game units. You can see the knockback there too. One unit got knocked back. But honestly, if you want a knockback unit, just get Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki is so much better. Let me go see what my DPS is that I calculated for Tatsumaki. Yeah, 12,000 DPS. Tatsumaki has 3,000 more DPS than this one. And I think it also has more range too. Not sure though. I didn't make a video on it though. But overall, not bad buffs. All 3 units are still pretty far from meta. I think the only unit that really got a reasonable change is Killua, because Kahlua is much more usable now because he's a really fast cooldown, multi-hit stun unit. So he is very good to use if you're trying to shred through shields, or you want to be stunning as soon as possible constantly. But that's definitely like the only unit out of these 3 that actually got a reasonable buff to it. But I'm not gonna complain. I do love the fact that they still buff units, even the old ones, because there's no reason for them to buff all these units. There's no reason at all. They really wouldn't have changed anything if they just didn't buff them, because they're still bad. But I love the fact that they actually buff old units. I think that is amazing, because this makes this is much easier for people that stopped playing the game and came back, because now their units are a bit stronger than they were, so they have an easier time catching back up with the main stuff in the game. And a pretty good update, actually gave me a reason to evolve All Might, so I appreciate it very much.